Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I hope you're all well. Today we'll inshallah be doing the last principle of success discussed in the last ayat of Surah Al Asr, which is tawasi bis sabr, enjoining or urging each other to patience, and we will discuss in detail what exactly is meant by this and try to understand its meaning. So let's begin. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. O my Lord, expand for me my chest and make my work easy for me, and loosen the knot from my tongue so that they may understand my speech. Rabbi zidni ilma. O my Lord, increase me in knowledge. Allahumma faqihni fid deen. O Allah, grant me the understanding of deen. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. So like I said, today we will be discussing the last principle mentioned in the third ayat of Surah Al Asr, where Allah Ta'ala has mentioned the principles of success, the principles which we need to live by or to adopt in our lives to save ourselves from eternal loss in the hereafter. And like we had discussed earlier, and let me quote the ayat first. In fact, I'll recite the surah. Wal Asr, I swear upon time, I swear upon the passage of time. Innal insana lafi khusr, indeed mankind is in loss. Illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr, except for those who have believed and done righteous deeds and advised each other to truth and advised or urged each other to patience. So here in the last ayat, Allah has mentioned the four principles of success. We discussed faith in detail, then we discussed amal salih in detail, the righteous deeds in detail, and then we discussed tawasi bil haqq, enjoining or urging each other to truth. What is meant by that? We discussed that in detail. And today, inshallah, we will be discussing the last principle, which is the principle of tawasi bis sabr, in detail, inshallah. Tawasi bis sabr wa tawasaw bis sabr. What is meant by this? Enjoining patience upon one another or urging each other to have patience. This, like I said, is the fourth principle mentioned for salvation from eternal loss. Sabr is one of the most important terms used in the Quran and used very often. In fact, the root word of sabr, which is the same as the word itself, which is sad ba ra, there are about 103 words in the Holy Quran which are formed from the root word sad ba ra, sabr. So it is, like I said, one of the most important terms and most frequently mentioned in the Holy Quran. Its various meanings include steadfastness, where one shows commitment and one is regular and dedicated. All of this comes into steadfastness. It can also mean constant struggle to achieve one's goal, constant struggle, and not to give up, not giving up when facing failures. It can also mean tolerance, where one is putting up with a lot of opposition and you're bearing it positively and patiently. So generally patience, we notice, is understood to mean to be passive, to be submissive. But we notice that the Quran has used this term to mean many other traits. Maulana Hamiduddin Farahi writes about Sabr, one must remember that amongst the Arabs, patience is not understood to mean humility and submissiveness, which is the last resort of a helpless individual. Rather, according to him, Sabr is the foundation of all strength and steadfastness. Ghulam Ahmad Parvez writes in his Lughatul Quran, the famous Quranic dictionary, briefly, Sabr means to remain steadfast on your plan and program and to face all problems during the execution of your program with such courage and fortitude that does not waver in the least bit. Allama Jafar Subhani writes about Sabr, Sabr refers to steadfastness upon good actions and also steadfastness to abstain from evil. According to another Quranic dictionary, Sabr refers to controlling the mind according to the requirements of the intellect and the Shariat. So it basically also means to control oneself from negative emotional reactions. So Sabr is holding oneself, controlling oneself, and to remain positive in a negative situation, to have courage and fortitude. So all of these meanings come into this most comprehensive term of Sabr. Keeping in mind the above mentioned different meanings of Sabr, it becomes crystal clear that Sabr is a foundational trait for success in any field of life, be it material or otherwise, whether it's an achievement related to a person's body or a person's soul or mind. For example, if one wishes to remain physically fit, then he or she needs to follow a program of diet and exercise with die-hard commitment to be able to get the desired results. Such a person has to show steadfastness and abstinence from certain things, and all of this is patience, sabr. He has to abstain from a certain kind of diet, he has to avoid certain foods. If one is unable to show the required steadfastness, then he or she will not be able to achieve the desired level of physical fitness. Such a person will have to dedicate time, effort, and willpower to achieve his goal, and will also have to sacrifice a lot in the process. The exact same principles of success apply to intellectual, spiritual, or moral achievements. When we connect the two terms, tawasi bil haqq and tawasi bil sabr, we can clearly perceive that when a person decides to promote or preach the truth, he or she will definitely require sabr, patience, because such a person will inevitably face hurdles and opposition from one's own desires, sometimes from one's own family, from the society, from the evil forces in society. So despite all kinds of opposition, one has to remain steadfast in one's mission and also has to preach the same fortitude to others. If one remains steadfast, only then can one achieve success. Otherwise, one will face failure. For example, if a person values justice greatly in his life, then he will be ready to face all oppositions or all hurdles in the path to achieving justice with tremendous fortitude, because justice is extremely important for him. So, for such a person, the achievement of justice is such a precious goal that he is ready to sacrifice, he is ready to stand strong. In Surah Nisa, ayat 35, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kunu qawwamina bil qisti shuhada'a lillahi walau ala anfusikum awil walidaini wal aqrabin in yakun ghaniyan aw faqiran fallahu awla bihima fala tattabi'ul hawa an ta'dilu wa in talwu aw tu'ridu fa inna allaha kana bima ta'maluna khabira. O you who have believed, be persistently standing firm in justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it be against yourselves or parents or relatives, whether one is rich or poor. Allah is more worthy of both. So follow not personal inclination, lest you not be just. And if you distort your testimony or refuse to give it, then indeed Allah is ever with what you do acquainted. So justice should be so important in a believer's life that despite all opposition, he must stand firm to attain it. To be able to do this, one requires tremendous sabr, fortitude, courage, strength, and sacrifice, tolerance, and he needs to enjoin or preach patience to others in society as well. In Surah Al Imran, ayat number 200, Allah has given us similar instructions. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu asbiru wa sabiru wa rabitu wattaqullaha la'allakum tuflihun. O you who have believed, persevere and endure and remain stationed and fear Allah that you may be successful. In some other verses, we notice, I'm going to quote a few verses from Surah Al-Baqarah which pertain to patience and sabr. Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 153, 155, 156 and 157. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salat, inna Allaha ma'as-sabirin. O you who have believed, seek help through patience and prayer. Indeed, Allah is with the patient. Yani Allah's support is with the patient, the ones who show patience. And then ayat 155. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. And we will surely test you with something of fear and hunger and a loss of wealth and lives and fruits, but give good tidings, good news to the patient ones. الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Who, when disaster strikes them, say, indeed we belong to Allah, and indeed to Him we will return. أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ صَلَوَاتٌ مِّن رَّبِّهِمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُهْتَدُونَ. Those are the ones upon whom are blessings from their Lord and mercy, and it is those who are the rightly guided. So we notice in these ayat that the faith, the iman that a person has, the faith that a person has in God, is a source of great strength and sabr, whereby a believer knows that he will be tested in this life in various ways, and the only way that can help him, the only attitude that can help him cope with all these difficulties and hardships is to show patience, is to remain positive, is to show courage and steadfastness and fortitude, and not to lose hope. These are the people who know that they belong to Allah, and their ultimate return is to Him as well. This faith gives them the sabr and the fortitude to withstand the hardships of life, and these are the ones, according to Allah, who are the ones upon whom are blessings from their Lord. They do not lose hope, and they are the ones who succeed. There are innumerable other verses in the Holy Quran pertaining to sabr and its immense importance in our lives for success in this life as well as the hereafter. To conclude the surah, let's look at some key points from the surah. Number one, the passage of time is witness to the fact that all of humanity is in a huge loss. The passage of time has seen the rise and fall of several civilizations, and the ones that succeeded were the ones who lived their lives according to the principles that are the universal principles of success. Only those civilizations prospered and were successful and were remembered in good words in history. The others were all failures. Number two, except those who fulfill four conditions, right? So humanity is in a huge loss except those who fulfill 4 conditions. What are the 4 conditions? To have faith, iman, amal salih, to perform good deeds, tawasi bil haqq, enjoining or urging each other to truth, and tawasi bil sabr, enjoining or urging each other to patience. Faith, what does faith include? Iman includes the metaphysical foundation of religion, where one believes in certain unseen realities. This is the foundation of the religion, and it includes 6 articles, as we had discussed. It includes belief in one supreme being, which is Allah, belief in prophethood, which is believing in the certain chosen people from the human beings who are the messengers of God, who deliver His message, belief in the revealed books, which is the books that are revealed by God for mankind's guidance, belief in the angels, belief in life after death and accountability to God, and belief in destiny. The amal salih, the good deeds, all those actions which one does as a natural result of the above faith or the worldview which develops, and which are in accordance with the permanent values given to us by Allah's revealed text. Tawasi bil haqq is enjoining or urging each other to truth. This includes the promotion of the truth through any resources given to us by God. Tawasi bil sabr is enjoining or urging each other to patience and fortitude and steadfastness. This refers to the strength, resolve, dedication, commitment which one requires to be able to fulfill the commandments of Allah and for the promotion of the truth. We also notice, interestingly, that these 4 steps are not just necessary for success in religion, but also in any secular ideology or movement. If you notice, firstly, you have to have firm conviction in the ideology. Then you will act according to the principles of that ideology, and then you will definitely promote those views, and you will give it your time, your resources, and your wealth. Lastly, in the promotion of that ideology, when you are faced with opposition from society, you will have to remain strong and patient and urge each other to do the same. Only if you fulfill all of the above prerequisites can one attain success in any movement. And if you think about the great movements, even if you, for example, if you think about communism, socialism, we can notice exact very similar pattern, that first it's the ideology that you have to have complete faith in, then you act according to it because you have such firm faith in it that this is the ultimate ideology for success for humankind. And then of course you will promote those views. And lastly, you will, when you're faced with opposition from society, then you will have to show patience. So here we conclude Surah Al Asr, and I'll be waiting for your feedback. And please kindly give me feedback or any criticism or anything that you feel needs to be changed, or if there are any questions, I would be more than happy to hear from you. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.